Welcome to the Roving Reporter segment of Impact, where we spotlight special events and organizations in and around the capital region. This week, we're spotlighting men's health here at the YMCA. Joe McQueen is a busy husband and father who has chosen fitness to be a priority in his life.
It's ironic, when I was in New York, you walk everywhere. I didn't have a car, and I lived in an apartment that didn't have an elevator. I was in a lot better shape.
Yes.
And weight was not as big of a struggle at that point. Moved up here, and then you get to the family life, and you get into your job, and we seem to drive everywhere. And you spend more time at home and with your family, and I started putting on quite a bit of weight. And it started about 2 years ago where I kind of hit that point that we joke in my family, the heaviest I've ever been. And I said, all right, something has to be done. And my wife encouraged me, and I actually started coming to the Y, started here but it lasted about 6 months, which again seems to be sort of very typical.
Yes.
Things happened at work, got very busy, stopped coming. Kind of put all the weight back on, lost all the progress that I had made. So it was last January, after the holidays, New Year's resolutions were basically sitting talking with my wife, and she said, you need to do this again.
Wonderful.
Because it's not good for my health, not good for the family. I have a very active daughter. She plays soccer, she does dance, she wants to go out and kick the ball around, do things, and it was starting to become a bit of a struggle. I developed sleep apnea. My blood pressure went up. It was just all that a lot of us go through.
And you are a young man. It's not like you're an old person.
No.
You're a young man, and
But I was feeling old.
You were feeling old.
I was feeling old. It was amazing, and it was. So those were all issues. So I went to my doctor, had a physical, and he said, you need to do something about this.
Wow.
I actually got put on blood pressure medication for the first time. And so those were the things that between the family, the doctor, myself feeling it, said, all right, now I have to really just do this. So I, again, had been a member of the Y from the year before, came back in, actually set up an appointment with Scott Bergen, with the wellness director here, to train, because I felt I did need some help. I needed that motivation.
Yes, so you had to have a plan, basically.
Right. And that's sort of how I came back. And so it's a little over a year now that I've been really doing it and sticking with the plan and coming on a regular basis to the Y and training, and have had quite a bit of success.
Talk about some of the roadblocks and the barriers that you came up against.
Just the environment that we live in is very food-centered. I mean, just sit and watch TV at night, and every other commercial is for food.
Yes.
And it's for fast food. So it took a lot of discipline to just say no.
So were you a fast food person, and were you the person that went to the drive-thru instead of grabbing?
I was a big portion person.
Oh,
it was eating too much, so portion control was a big part.
Which is a man thing. I mean, men feel that they have to have a big plate of food, and the meat and everything like that.
Yep. Yes. And I do have a pretty bad sweet tooth. But it's not like I went out and was eating candy bars or anything, but you'd have dinner, so we'd have a really big dinner, and then I felt like I always had to have something for dessert. So it was the ice cream, it was a cookie, and it's amazing. It's just all you need is to just pull that one little cookie, and you're in trouble. Work was an issue too, because there just always seemed to be food around, and we always were celebrating somebody's birthday, and you always have to have a cake for everybody's birthday. And what even little things like when we have the cake for somebody's birthday in the office, I will literally maybe just grab a cup of coffee, and I don't eat the cake. So it was a lot of just saying no and just having the willpower. I have to do a lot of events for work. I will eat sometimes before I go out, so that if I'm at a social function, I don't eat anything that's there because I've already eaten before. Now that is difficult too. You have to make sure that if you eat before, you don't eat when you're there too, because now you've just defeated the purpose.
Some people eat not just because they're hungry, they eat because they're happy. They eat because, it's just, I have a bag of chips in front of me, so I'm having a conversation, and I'm putting stuff in my mouth, and we don't realize that as we're doing that, we are putting on pounds.
Right. And you're not paying attention. I grew up in a very Italian household, and food was love, and food was the center, and if you were happy, you ate, and if you were sad, you ate. And that's what it was a big hurdle to get over that food piece.
Yes.
But thankfully, again, having some support at home, and then even at work and at friends, it was difficult. You get into this, and it's a little embarrassing at first, because, oh my God, I gained all of this weight, I don't feel good, I don't look good. Now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go on a diet. Is it really a diet? And helped to talk at work,
Yes.
to let people know this was what I was doing, to
wonderful.
also get the support back from them that if we were having birthday cake for somebody, they weren't sitting there, oh, come on, just have it, it's a little
Exactly.
piece. To know that, just don't even ask me.
Women seem to talk more and are able to just say, hey, you know, I'm on a diet. And you find some men are not that talkative in saying or expressing themselves to say, this is where I am, this is what I'm planning to, this is where I want to go, and I just want you to know that.
Right.
And so sometimes it's so good to hear you say that you are able to talk to coworkers and say, this is my goal. And so if I'm not having that piece of cake for the birthday celebration, don't think, you know, I'm just being whatever.
Right.
You know,
I can't do it.
Keeping to my diet.
And it's not easy. And up to this point, there was, again, there's that sort of embarrassment, and we're supposed to act a certain way and be a certain way. But it came to the point where for at least me personally, I finally said, I don't care.
Good.
I can't care what other people say.
Oh, wow.
Because there's no way that I'm going to fix this if I do, because if you're worried about everybody else, you can't worry about yourself.
Yes.
Same thing with coming to the gym. One of the things that I really like about coming to the Y in particular is that, you know, I like to put it, there's a lot of just regular people here. And most people, that at least that I've met and that have been here, again, they're not worried about you, because they're worried about themselves also. So, you know, at first I just came in, I did what I had to do, and I left. I still do that a lot because it is busy and I do have a lot of time, but I've started to talk more with people.
Good.
Because you can't worry about what other people think. You sit there and when I first started working and we started, say, working with weights, it's like I could not believe how weak I had gotten.
Wow.
Just in a little bit of time, because I hadn't done anything. And just you look at this, and so you've got guys next to you that are lifting these really big weights, and here I'm on these little dinky
And
weights.
were you intimidated? Because some guys would be like, oh my goodness.
I was not intimidated, but I was a little embarrassed. And that's the piece you've got to get over. Because now I've built myself up where I'm in a lot better shape and I'm a lot more of where I want to be. And I still may not be lifting the weight that the guy next to me is, but I'm a little older. I'm not the 25-year-old that maybe in my head I think I am, but I can't care. I can't care what other people are doing around me, because I have to just do what I can do and just do it for myself. And that's why I think that this time, and at least in the last 5 years that I've been trying to, you know, take the weight off, that I've actually had some success, because it really is stopping caring about what other people think.
It's important to remember that it's not always about looking fit, but it's about being fit. And what I mean by that is feeling fit. It's not always the number on the scale, but sometimes, you know, are your clothes fitting a little looser? Are you sleeping better at night? Are you less winded when you're going up a flight of stairs? Is your heart rate lowered, or you're not breathing as heavy? Those are all things that are important, and it's all really about wellness. It's not always about fitness, but it's about living well and being healthy and quality of life.
Talk about the success in terms of the well-being. What is the success that you feel, you know, like I said, what's the one thing that makes you go, that makes you smile when you look at yourself now?
It's actually my heart rate. Ironically, there's a lot of different pieces. It's not always about what you look like or even what the scale is. I've lost a significant amount of weight, so that obviously I'm happy about that. But it's not always the weight. I know my clothes fit better, and I know I'm in a different size, and I've gone down a couple belt loops. That's important too. But again, I did this more because of the fitness piece. Even when I think back to, you know, in high school and before I got married, I was thin. I wasn't fit. I wasn't healthy.
One more, you got it. Those toes straight out, nice and firm. 3 more. In. Good.
When I started personal training here at the Y and started working with Scott, they do a preliminary sort of fitness evaluation. And you do a couple of things. You go on a stepper, you do sit-ups, push-ups. But when I had done the heart sort of piece of it, which is the stepper, my heart rate, just from going 3 minutes on a very simple stepper, when I first started, it was a year ago, it was up to 154 beats a minute.
Yes.
And that's really, really intense workout beating. Literally 1 year later, we did a reevaluation and it had gone down to 68. So my heart is working half what it was a year ago. That's what's important. That's the thing that I think I'm most proud with, because that's the stuff that's important. That's what's going to prevent the heart attack. That's what goes to the high blood pressure. You know, I was on high blood pressure medication. Literally in 3 months, my doctor took me off of it, because just the first 3 months of just getting 5 pounds off made a huge difference.
5 pounds?
Yeah, that first 5 pounds.
5 pounds off made a huge difference.
Yep, 5 pounds, a little bit more, but it was literally just that little bit. I guess they say if you lose you can lose 5% of your weight, and pre-diabetes issues go away, blood pressure issues can go away. You know, thankfully I didn't have issues with diabetes, but I have it in my family, so that was in the back of my head, because I had some of the signs of pre-diabetes just with the weight and some of the other issues. So it was that health piece that I think I'm most proud of, which then helps make you want to keep coming back. And so that's why the workout and the gym portion of it is not necessarily about the weight, because that's more food, but it's the health aspect.
So where are you now in your, you would say, workout regimen? Are you still trying to lose more weight, or are you at a place where you're like, okay, I'm just maintaining and trying to, you know, be excited about coming to the gym?
No, we're sort of in a transition. I still want to lose about 20 more pounds, so we're still working on the weight, but because I've had so much weight that has come off, then now we are working more on strength. And again, not necessarily muscle building. It would be nice, but it's more about strength. Taking a lot of the different classes that the Y offers that are not easy, but that for some reason men in particular think that I'm supposed to be lifting weights. I'm not supposed to be and doing these.
So tell me about one of the classes that you've taken.
There's one class called EMC, Extreme Metabolic Conditioning. I take that, and then there's also another class that's similar, that's Tabata, and that's on the weekends. And basically, it's sort of that insanity P90X kind of idea of muscle. I guess they call it muscle confusion. It's where you do, you know, either a minute or 20 seconds of work, and then you take a break, and then you do it again, and you do it for a number of repetitions. And I actually took a class yesterday, and it was all with these power bands. And you think, oh, it's just standing there, and you're just kind of doing bicep curls with these bands, or you're doing squats, or you're running in place. But it was an intense workout.
Wow.
And my heart rate got up, which is a big piece, and I walked out of there exhausted. And there's probably 4 or 5 guys in the class that take it, and it's mostly women.
And so you found a lot of men, even though they're when they think of the gym, they're thinking of just lifting weights.
Right.
But the Y has so many other programs, you know, that Joe mentioned, Tabata.
Yes.
As an example of one of the programs that he's taken. What are some of the other programs that, you know, a man can come in and go through and know that, you know, the heart is pumping, and it doesn't seem, you know, it may seem a little girly, but it's a great program.
Right. And a lot of the classes that we have, group exercise, a man can come to any of those classes. They are, they're not specifically tailored to women, but a lot of men stay away from them because they're not sure if they're going to be working hard enough, or if their dance steps, will they be able to follow along. Some of the programs that we have are spinning classes, where, you know, you can just get on an indoor spinning bike and do a group exercise class that way. There's also more athletic style classes, so it's important to find what you're interested in and try a couple of different things. You know, see what's out there and see what's your best fit for you.
I think that you just said the key word, explore and see, because you may think, oh my God, I'm not going to like the Zumba thing because all these women are in here, or I may not like Pilates, and then I get in there and it's like, wow, this is really doing something for my body.
It is, and all of the classes can be challenging. It's what you put into it.
You have given us a full example of not just, you know, coming to be this, you know, build muscle, but to come into the gym to better your life, to better your insides, your heart, because what I've discovered is that men gain a lot of the weight around the belly area, you know. And that's where when the fat is stored there, it has an effect on the heart, which trickles to all the other organs of the body.
Belly fat is the worst fat.
Yes.
And it's all the research shows it. So yes, that's the big piece of it, is to get rid of that and to work on the, it has been difficult, both just to do it, but also with the timing. I don't see my daughter as much. I pretty much come to the gym after work, right after work, try to get over with. So I'm always home for bedtime, but there's a lot of days when I do miss dinner time.
So I'm assuming you come in here for like at least an hour or less, and then you make that commitment
And again, I had to have that support at home so that my wife understood I needed to do this, I need to come. Can't do it in the morning because my wife leaves for work at around 7 o'clock-ish. I've got to get my daughter to school at 8:15. So it's just that morning workout, which is where I know a lot of people like to do, doesn't work for me. If it works for others, it works. But you have to find the time. And again, thankfully, my wife knows the benefits and knows that I've been pretty committed to this, so that she totally understands that I'm going to get home a little bit later. And even my daughter sort of understands. And again, we've been talking to my daughter not about weight loss, but about fitness and health. Because we also don't want to.
So this is a total family affair.
Well, my wife keeps saying, don't throw your food issues on your daughter. Because that's how I grew up. And we don't want to do that. So it's more about, again, fitness. And so it's, dad needs to do this to stay healthy.
I think what you just said was so wonderful and so great. And I hope that our men are watching and they're able to take your story and use it as a great example to get healthy and to get fit. You've been watching the Roving Reporter segment of Impact. I'm Huldah Thompson. I hope this segment has helped you to make that decision to come on into the gym or start some kind of exercising program for the betterment of yourself and for your family. Thank you again for watching.
Proctors, bringing the best in arts, education, and entertainment.